So I wanted to think of something clever for this review, but the only thing I can think of is this.
Let me go, let you go, let me go, let you go, let me go. Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, let me go.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Movie and Point's movie review of Bohemian Rhapsody, the newest film directed by, well, we'll get into that later, the newest film starring Rami Malek, Lucy Boynton, Joseph Mazzello, Ben Hardy, Aidan, Gillen, Gwilym Lee, and Tom Hollander. So, we have Queen, well-known band, famous band, Freddie Mercury, John Deacon, Brian May, and Roger Taylor. You know, they created songs like Bohemian Rhapsody, which is the name of the movie itself. They also have stuff like Under Pressure, I'm Going Slightly Mad, Radio Gaga, so on and so forth. Many famous songs, many popular songs, many weird, crazy songs. And this is a basic story of how the band became to be, but it mostly focuses on Freddie Mercury, his life, and then went on to doing Live Aid, which is considered one of the greatest live shows ever done by a band in general. So to discuss this movie in general, the movie had a weird upbringing, whatever you want to call it. It was originally going to have Sacha Baron Cohen in it. It was going to go much darker, much more into what Freddie Mercury was, who he was. And then the members of Queen, who kind of had final say of what this movie was going to be, decided they didn't want that, and they wanted to do something that was more of a love letter to Freddie Mercury. And when we had Bryan Singer sign on to direct, and then Rami Malek signed on to become the Freddie Mercury, things changed around. Things were more scaled down. I don't know how. I think it's more watered down, but whatever. So here we got a movie about, the upbringing of Queen. And this movie it's pretty good. It's not great. Rami Malek is definitely the standout of this movie as Freddie Mercury. It's definitely an Oscar-nominated performance. I don't know about winning, but Oscar-nominated at least. He has to carry this movie. He has to be the one, because Freddie Mercury was the guy you went to see. Yes, you got Roger Taylor, John Deacon, and Brian May, but Freddie Mercury was the guy, the one you paid money to see, and which it doesn't detract from the other Queen members. But we all know Freddie Mercury is who he was. He was an eccentric singer. He was very good at what he did. And he had shortcomings like anybody else. And he paid dearly for him when he eventually died. But, Rami Malek has always been a great actor. He's an underrated actor. Even though he's in stuff like Mr. Robot and he's, done other stuff in his, past, he's never really had a part like this. And that's what makes him so good in this movie. He embodies, he engrosses, he is Freddie Mercury. Everything from how he looks, to how he acts, to his mannerisms, to his, specialities, and so on and so forth. This is Rami Malek's show, and unfortunately everything gets pushed to the side because you're so focused on his lifestyle and his life and how he created this music and how the band reacted to his music and how his party lifestyle. And there's not enough good things you can't say about Rami Malek. He is that good in this movie, and it shows. I don't know if he did his own singing, which it sounds like he did because the song sounds somewhat different to what Freddie Mercury sounded like. But just to watch him, when he first started with the band to when he, eventually married a woman, to his eventually coming out as gay, to his eventually telling, the parties, wild parties, and the guy who's holding him back from who he is. It's just an incredible performance. There's nothing you can't say about it. And it's definitely worth the price of admission just to see Rami Malek transform himself into Freddie Mercury. And I think Freddie Mercury is one of the single best singers of all time. And it shows here. I mean, it really does. I mean, there's nothing else more I can say about it, but everyone else is really good. You have Joseph Mazzello playing John Deacon. I didn't even realize who it was until I was like, oh, that guy looks familiar. And then you got Gwilym Lee, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, as Brian Taylor. He looks like Brian, or I mean, I'm sorry, Brian May. He looks like Brian May. It's kind of impressive. And he does a nice job of kind of being the second in charge lead outside of John Deacon. And then you have Ben Hardy, who was in Bryan Singer's X-Men Apocalypse as Angel or something like that. He's playing the drummer Roger Taylor, and they do a nice job. They're very fun to watch, but like I said, they're not given a lot because this is a Freddie Mercury show, which is unfortunate because that's what kind of detracts from the movie. And then you have his love of his life, Lucy Boynton, who's playing Mary Austin. She's pretty decent in this movie, but like I said, she's pushed into the background because of, you know, what Freddie Mercury is. But you can really tell that she went from really loving this guy to kind of hating herself for loving this guy to kind of understanding who Freddie Mercury was. And that's what makes her a decent character. Then you have Aidan Gillen and you have Tom Hollander as their manager and lawyer, and they play pretty decent characters. Aidan Gillen, when he's in a movie, he's always fun to watch. If you've ever seen Sing Street and, of course, Game of Thrones, he's a good character. Tom Hollander is not in a lot of movies, but he was in like the Pirates of the Caribbean series, and he's pretty good in this. The storyline is unfortunately conventional. It's not particularly, it's good, but not great. It moves the story quickly along. It's 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is kind of interesting because it really feels like it's going fast paced, even though it's not going fast paced. And, you know, the very beginning, the rise of Queen to the eventual, you know, Queen going to Live Aid and so on and so forth. It just feels like it's too quick, too fast paced, and it does slow down eventually a little bit. But it's like in the beginning, it's like like you see the rise of stardom happen within like the first half hour, and it could have been, you know, a lot better used. I think there could have been an extra half hour in this movie that could have maybe expanded it a little bit more. And then, like I said, you got the director issue. Bryan Singer directed most of this movie, and then he has little issues. And then Dexter Fletcher came in, did the last 3 weeks of shooting. And I'm sure there's not really much you can tell the difference of it, but the movie shot, it's pretty, it's nice looking. I think Newton Thomas Siegel or something like that did the director of photography. He's done all of Bryan Singer's films, but in the end, I think you're going to see this movie for what it is, of the life of Queen, the life of Freddie Mercury. There's tons of Queen songs, as there should be, and they're really well placed throughout the movie. You see how things are formed, how songs are, you know, played out. The one thing I wish they had done more of is kind of more in the studio stuff, but maybe they could do like a director's cut where they show a little bit more of that, because I know they have to do pacing and editing. But I kind of wish there would have been a little bit more, you know, they're doing like the I Will Rock You song and they're doing the claps, but there's not really much after that. It goes straight into concert footage, and that's how the songs are kind of created and played through the movie. And maybe that's just me wanting a little bit more out of, you know, a movie like that, because I find that stuff interesting and fascinating, but some people won't. But like overall, I'm definitely recommending this movie. It's a lot of fun. It's very heartwarming, tender. It's nice to see a band, because Queen, even though they're considered a really popular band now, they faded away before Live Aid, and Live Aid really pushed them into the mainstream. And then when Wayne's World happened, after unfortunately Freddie Mercury died, that really propelled them into the mainstream. And I will always love Queen. I will always love what they do. I do think this movie is great outside of just feeling a little conventional and kind of feeling, you know, a little underwhelming at some points, but that doesn't detract from a movie I definitely suggest you watch, because if you like Queen, and I know a lot of you guys do, you'll love what what Rami Malek is doing here. You'll love what the other cast is doing here, because they really feel like they're putting a lot of heart and effort into this movie, and that's all you can ask for. So definitely look for Rami Malek to probably get an Oscar nomination. Definitely look forward to anything else in this movie getting some kind of love. So it's definitely a good recommend. But that's it. That's my take on Bohemian Rhapsody. As always, if you like what you see, remember to check out my YouTube page, check out Facebook, check out Twitter, email nlapola113@gmail.com. Tell me what you think about what you're interested in Bohemian Rhapsody. This is an early review, so I know a lot of people haven't seen it or probably won't watch the review. I know some of you won't, but, you know, comment below what your favorite Queen song is. I'd be interested to know. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.